Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the November 5th, 2019 Board of Selectmen meeting. Calling the meeting to order at Memorial Town Hall. We'll be meeting with the assessors in just a few minutes. But first, is there anything for announcements that anybody would like to make?
Yeah, I have two announcements. This Saturday, November 19th is Vets Night at the Legion. It's a dinner dance. There's still tickets available, and you can go on the American Legion Post 344 website. And the other announcement is Monday, on Veterans Day at 11 a.m., there'll be a small ceremony in front of Town Hall. Hope that you can attend. 11-11-11, the war to end all wars. So that's the announcements I have.
Okay, great. Okay. Thank you very much, Diana. Did you have anything?
No, are you going to do
from an announcement perspective?
Are you going to announce the sports teams?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
I'll do that.
Sure.
So we just want to, we have the 3 fall sports teams for Smith Academy are all rolling through the tournament process right now, and we want to congratulate boys soccer on their win on Monday and girls soccer on their win today. Field hockey won last week and has their next game tomorrow night. And I'm not sure exactly when the next boys soccer and girls soccer games are, but they're by the end of the week, I think. And so, we certainly appreciate a lot of townspeople have been coming out, I know, for the field hockey games, and it's really nice. So congrats to those guys, and good luck with the rest of the games.
Yep, that's great. Congratulations to all the players and to Smith Academy. The only thing I have actually is I just wanted to read something regarding our meetings, public meetings and the Board of Selectmen meetings in particular. As far as the public participation at Town of Hatfield Select Board meetings. The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to its meetings and all other public meetings of the Town of Hatfield. All regular and special meetings of the boards and committees of the Town of Hatfield shall be open to the public and shall conform to the open meeting law. Executive sessions are closed to the public and will be held only as prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the opportunity to listen to the proceedings, but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find a balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board. All right.
Can I make two more quick announcements?
Yeah, of course.
We are on the Hatfield 350th committee. We are now selling the candles that are going to be lit up on the 350th cake. That will be lit up on Luminarium night. So for $20, you can buy a candle and have your name on, not necessarily on the candle, but on a sign. So those will be sold at a variety of places, but they will be sold at the craft fair this weekend. That's at Smith Academy, the book club craft fair. And then the other thing is the gala is rapidly approaching, and from last I heard, and it could be even more than this sold, but we only had about 20 tickets left. So anybody who's thinking of going to the gala New Year's Eve should probably think about getting their tickets very soon.
That's great. Thank you very much for the updates, everyone. So as I mentioned in the opening remarks for calling our meeting to order, we are joined tonight by the Board of Assessors. This is a, sorry, I've got to put my hands on it. So this is a public tax rate classification hearing that we'll be holding tonight, a joint session with the Board of Assessors. So I guess I would turn it over to Ron tonight. Okay, thank you.
All right, Assessors' recommendations. Number 1, allocation of the tax levy. The Board of Assessors recommends that a factor of 1.0 be adopted for tax year 2020. This will keep a single tax rate for all classes of property in Hatfield. Number 2, shift from open space to residential class. The Board of Assessors recommends that no open space discount be granted for tax year 2020. Number 3, residential exemption. The Board of Assessors recommends that no residential exemption be granted for tax year 2020. And finally, number 4, small commercial exemption. The Board of Assessors recommends that no small commercial exemption be granted for tax year 2020. And with that,
That's it, they need to vote first.
I will give you the classification, the LA5, and I believe you vote on that.
Excuse me, right?
Sign that, and then if you do, if you will give that to Sharon.
To Sharon.
We'll see that it gets to Jen, so she can forward it.
Yes,
To
to
the
the,
DOR.
so yeah, so DOR gets it, and everybody can move forward with
So,
what they need to do. Yes, sir.
Don't have it in our packet. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So that's the assessor's recommendation to the Board of Selectmen.
that's correct.
Those 4 points that you just laid out there.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Ed or Diana, does anyone have a question of any of the members of the Board of Assessors? Or need a clarification on anything?
No, didn't we, we used to vote just to have a single rate.
Right,
That's not
that's what, yeah.
included in
I'm
here.
looking,
Okay.
that's what I was looking
That's
for, and I
correct.
don't
That's
see it.
correct.
And what you're going to do now that Ron has read this off is you're going to take each one of these items, 1 through 4, and vote on them individually.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
And typically, what we're recommending is a single tax rate with a multiplier of 1. We do not recommend a split tax rate, and so we'll hope that you'll adopt our recommendation.
Okay. All right, and so there is nobody from the public here. This is a public hearing, but there's nobody in the audience to comment or ask any questions. So I'll read this part, first paragraph that's associated with this, just for the people at home and for our own board members. So, according to Massachusetts general laws, each year the Board of Selectmen must vote whether to have a single tax rate or have multiple tax rates for the different classes of property. Last year, the Board of Selectmen adopted a single tax rate for all classes of property. After a public hearing, which we're having right now, the Board of Selectmen must determine the following. And this is what, as Stan suggested, this is what we would vote on each of these 4 items individually. And these are a synopsis of the recommendation of the Board of Assessors that Ron just read to us, okay? So, number 1, the allocation of the tax levy factoring against the property classes fiscal year 2020. Is there a motion?
Make a motion
Is there
to
a
accept
second?
it.
Second, but shouldn't it include language about a single rate?
It does. The board, you could also reiterate what we just said. The Board of Assessors recommends that a factor of 1 be adopted by fiscal year 2020. This will keep a single tax rate
Okay.
for all classes, and then do the selectmen concur, and then take your vote.
Okay.
Okay.
So, motion amended? That's
However you'd
okay.
like
Yeah,
to make the
whatever's easy,
motion.
whatever makes sense. You have that right in front of you, right, Stan? So maybe
Correct.
it's easier to do
So
it
I
that.
I could reread it back to you, and then you
Yep.
could,
We'll say like item 1, you read it, and then we'll make the motion. Is that,
and then
And
you
we can
adopt
just
it.
concur.
Correct, adopt it and then vote.
Okay.
we'll get through it.
That would be,
I know.
yeah. I would just,
I think,
I would
Not like we do
recommend
this
you-
every week, so.
Right.
yeah,
for
if you could read
to
that,
read
and they'll make the
vote
motion.
on it.
Yeah,
Right.
we should probably read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
what
mean-
I believe.
Do you have that we can read from?
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought
if you'd
we
like
We
to.
don't have that. We don't have
the
that.
abridged version. We don't have the long version.
Here are our recommendations.
We
1
just
through
have the
4.
hearing
You can-
notice.
Got it.
You can reiterate them
Okay.
and vote on them.
Thank you very much. Yes, we have a synopsis, but not the same thing you have. So
Right,
we'll give
what
it
you
back.
have is the hearing
Right.
He's only
notice.
got 1.
That's okay.
So we'll take turns, Ed.
Yep. So so this is tax rate classification. We only do this once a year, to Stan's point. So if we could have so we'll withdraw the motion that Ed made,
Withdraw the motion.
okay? All
and
right,
We'll revise it.
yep, here we go. Thank you.
I make a motion that we vote a factor of 1.0 to be adopted for FY 2020 and adopt a single tax rate for all classes of property in Hatfield.
I'll second that.
Is there any, motions made and seconded, is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you want to make some
wanna-
of these, or do you want me to do them
Yeah.
all? I'll make a motion that we recommend no open space discount be granted for FY 2020.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded, is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion that we
Excuse
do
me.
not have a residential exemption for 2020.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
And I make a motion that no small commercial exemption be granted for FY 2020.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
With that, I need a motion for the assessors to adjourn.
One
Let me
more
close
item.
the-
You need to review that LA Form
5,
5.
and they need to
and
sign
it.
that.
Yep.
That needs to be signed before we
Correct.
walk out that door.
Okay,
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
I don't know if it need to be signed before we walk out the door.
Yes. As per
Yeah,
Jenny's-
they
as
sign
per
it at the
Jenny's
hearing.
instructions.
Okay.
Well, I missed that.
All right. But this is, again, this is the LA 5 in relation to what we just talked about, so we don't need a separate motion for
No,
this.
you just
Okay.
voted that.
Got it.
What's reflected there. You just
Yep.
voted it. So I apologize
Are all
for the
three of us,
confusion.
that's all right, are all three of us
Usually
signing
it's just the
this?
chair's signature.
Okay, because I only say that because there's only one spot. for-
Right, it's
okay.
just the chair.
You guys are good with me signing this?
Because Jenny said to have them all sign it when I tell her.
Well, then it
We can-
certainly isn't going to hurt.
We
but
can
in
use
the
a comma.
past, it's been the chair.
There we go.
That's fine.
Maybe, well, you know, what, she did mention last year that they changed the signature requirements, so maybe
Better too
that-
many than too few.
That's what I was thinking. This is what she told me to do.
Next to Diana's, if you would, please. Perfect. Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
We
Now,
appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
I need a motion for us to adjourn. Second,
Second.
all in favor? We're out of here.
I'm glad you
Thank
weren't
you.
demonstrating how to make a sausage. Because that would have been awful.
Maybe we'll see
Do
everyone
do you want this back, Stan?
Stanley,
No, you can keep that. Thank you very much, everybody.
thank you, guys.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, we appreciate it. We'll make sure this gets to
Do you want it?
Sharon.
He wants this, Marlene. Huh?
Okay, let me get back to our,
Okay, minutes?
yeah, we'll zip through the minutes, since we have to stick to the time frame of agenda items, so.
You don't want
Okay.
Although that's supposed to be at 5:40.
Oh,
Oh, it's 5:40, I was thinking it was 5:45.
It's 5:40.
Yep, you're right, it is 5:40.
Although
Are you
we
all
could-
set?
We could do the minutes quickly,
We really were just going to do minutes, which is going to take,
2 seconds.
well,
oh,
less
I
than
didn't
minutes.
realize it was already that time.
All right. So we have two sets of minutes. We have minutes from May 7th, 2019, and we have minutes from June 4th, 2019.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the minutes from 6/4/2019.
So,
Can I
sorry.
just ask for one small change?
Yep, can we
On-
maybe second it? first?
Second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded, under discussion.
Okay, on page 2, Key, there's, we're talking about the town government stuff, the committee, the town government committee. It says Selectman Zinal seconded but doesn't want to spend a lot on legal stuff. Maybe we could say legal expenses? Okay, that's it.
Okay, so there's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on those minutes? So we would look to approve those as amended. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great, thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the May 7th meeting.
A
I'll
motion's
second
been
that.
made and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion on the May 7th meeting? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great, thank you. All right. Shall we do the water and sewer abatements? I'm just, just trying to make sure everybody's here that needs to be when we start. So in the meantime, we can take care, we have a couple of water abatements that we need to discuss. Sharon is going to fill us in.
Yep, Phil wasn't able to come tonight, so he asked me to go over these with you. There's two in front of you. One is for 15 Mountain Road. The meter and the account number didn't match up when they did the scans, so he should have a minimum bill, but it was charged at the $97.90. So they're looking for an abatement of $22.90 for 15 Mountain Road.
Okay, why don't we take that one at a time? So is there a motion to abate that
I'll make a motion to abate that.
$22.90? Okay, so a motion's been made
I'll second that.
and seconded. The question I would ask is, but everything's been resolved since
Yes,
then, right?
exactly.
Okay,
Yep, it's all
so a
fixed.
motion's been made, seconded for the abatement of $22.90. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And then the second one is for 31 North Hatfield Road.
Yep.
This mostly is for a
Excuse
pool
me.
liner repair, which I saw the pool liner, the receipt for that, but it's not in the packet that Phil gave me, so I don't know if you have it, but we did get one. So that's why it's a adjustment for a large sewer abatement of $284.40, because obviously the water didn't go in the sewer. And then there looks like there was a meter adjustment also, for $147.74. I think they had to replace this meter as well with this going on, so.
Okay, so any of us in town who own a pool have probably been through this at least once
Or twice.
or twice.
Not yet.
You know, knock on wood, Diana. So there's, you've heard the abatement. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement for 31 North Hatfield Road.
Is there,
Second that.
and so the motion's been made and seconded. There was a liner repair as well as a meter adjustment. So are there any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great, thank you. Okay, you're welcome, thanks, Sharon. Excuse me, okay. So at this point, we're going to be having a liquor license hearing for the property on West Street. Yes, if I could ask you folks to come forward, please. How are you?
Good, and yourself?
Good, thank you.
Welcome. Hi, Kristen. How are you?
So the request from the folks here tonight is an application for a restaurant all alcohol on-premise liquor license. And so the board would, you know, make the determination, and if we have any questions, certainly we can ask them now. I know Key, probably who you folks have been dealing with a lot. Key's our resident liquor license and licenses in general expert, a little pressure. So we appreciate everything she does, but I know the paperwork is in order. We've gotten the application, all the legalese that has to go into this type of thing. So I don't know if anybody has any questions for
I just
For the
think it's
owner,
great
for
to
the
see the
restaurant?
restaurant continue over there, because it's been there for
Mm-hmm.
years, and there's a lot of memories from that place
Yeah.
from people in the town, and I think it's great that you're stepping up and taking it over and
Yeah,
and-
no, we're
and
so
doing
excited.
it.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea when you're planning on opening?
Well, with this, I think, you know, if everything goes well here and then everything goes well with the construction and the sign-offs and all that, we're hoping like mid-December.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
We can get through the ABCC
Yeah.
in time.
We understand that that can sometimes
Yeah.
be somewhat time-consuming and challenging.
Yeah.
They've been a
and-
little easier lately.
Good.
They've
That's
been
good.
a little
Yeah.
speedier. I think they're working on it.
Great.
So it's
I
good.
usually say 4 to 6 weeks,
Yeah.
but
Actually,
sometimes
so
it can
I'm
get
looking at
held up
6
a
weeks
little
right now.
longer.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I've seen as few as 3 weeks
Yeah.
recently.
good.
And I'm hoping that if we get in, the problem is all the licenses renew in December.
That's true.
Yeah.
So if we
That's
get in
right.
ahead
Yeah.
of that
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
isn't that
Busy
license
time,
renewal
yeah.
time?
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
I was actually, I think, a bit remiss. I should have asked you to just introduce yourselves so that the people in town, when they go to have a great meal and a cocktail,
Yeah.
hopefully down the road, can say hi and know who you folks are. So if you wouldn't mind just stating your name.
Yeah, I'm Amy Goklowski.
Hi, Amy.
And I'm Paul Hathaway.
Hi, Paul.
And I'm Christy Bodine, I'm their attorney, so.
Oh,
But maybe
nice.
you could-
Thanks, Counselor.
We'd give you a minute to talk
Yeah.
about what you're up to.
What you're,
So
yeah.
basically, right now is we're in the just renovating process. You know, we're just giving some new love to it. We put down a new
At-
floor. Yeah. it just
At
need-
which address?
Yeah, at 34
The-
West Street.
Yep.
Yeah, and and we're really looking forward to what we can deliver. You know, we had Chez Albert over in Amherst for 13 years, which was very good, successful. People seemed to like it, so that was great. And we were looking forward to doing something with the local farmers, something farm to table.
I'm happy to be in Hatfield.
Yeah. No, we're very
Like,
excited about that.
So much of our life is in Hatfield.
Yeah, already. So,
Right.
So
Part of the community and stuff.
I'm happy to to also work
Yeah.
here.
Great.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're hoping. Hoping that it's like just a
We're excited to feed people.
yeah.
Announce the name of your place?
Menu.
That's a draft menu. Yeah.
Wax
Looks
wing,
great.
the wax wing.
Yeah, the wax wing.
Wax
yep.
Wings,
Yeah.
okay.
It
Yeah,
really
we were,
looks
we were
good.
knocking our heads one day for a name, and a whole flock of cedar waxwings just came down
They were,
and
like,
landed like
outside the
right in
window.
front of us. And I'm like, I don't even know what bird that is. What is that?
And I was like, they're so cool looking. And they were like, well, I guess that's the name.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just kind of came to you. right?
Yeah, it did.
It was meant to be.
Literally.
Yeah, yeah,
Fell from the sky.
that's awesome.
This,
That's
this
great.
menu looks nice.
Well, thank you.
Yes, yeah. And we wish you much
Yes.
success.
Well, thank you so
Yes,
much.
So we
yeah,
should
of
probably
course.
vote.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, we should vote on the approval of the all alcohol liquor license.
I'll make a motion that we approve an all alcoholic beverages license for the Waxwing.
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion or questions that anybody has?
If I could interject.
Yes,
you-
please.
Al, I didn't put it in the header, but you also, I think, need to vote to approve the manager.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Approve
right.
him as the manager.
As part of
I'll be the
the,
manager.
okay.
It's considered
Overseeing.
Since, right, we
You
also
can
do a
do it all in
second.
one if you want, but it's
Okay.
considered to be two sort of separate
Sure, right.
decisions.
Okay.
Uh,
So I'll amend that to include that we approve Paul Hathaway as the manager of record.
Okay, great. So we're going to
I
two.
plan
for
on
on
being
that
there
one.
80 hours a week, so.
Yeah, right. All right, so we have an amended motion. It's been seconded. Are there any, Counselor, we all set? Okay. And you're here, right? Might as well take
Yeah,
advantage of it.
Exactly.
Any other questions or?
No.
Okay.
I wish you great success.
Thanks,
Great.
Ann.
Yes,
Hope it
like-
does well.
likewise.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good
You
luck.
bet.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good night, guys.
You too. All right. All right, our next topic for discussion is the agricultural soils that we had it on our last agenda, and then we just wanted to get some clarification from Bob Wagner. And I know that we were able to get that, and we're in receipt of that information. So I guess, Marlene, do you need us to,
Right, Diane had asked if you know, that
excuse me,
placed any, you know,
restriction or?
restrictions or
yeah,
conditions on the
conditions,
land
that's the word
in
I was-
61A, and it does not. It does not place any conditions. It only recognizes that his response was, this process will only recognize that indeed a farm has soils that meet the criteria of IAS
Important
Which is-
ag soils.
soils.
Excuse me.
And then it says, okay,
Yeah, the
sorry.
landowner could, if they wished, to apply to enroll their land in the federal program that would pay them for a conservation restriction on the property.
Okay.
But so
But could they do that without,
voluntary.
sorry,
No, I was just going to say, but
without a
it's-
right of first
Conservation
refusal
restriction.
to the
That's-
town? So because to come out of 61A, the town gets a right of first refusal.
Correct.
But if,
Correct.
so if they go to this designation, this federal designation, that means that does the town never get a right of first refusal?
As long as, my understanding, as
Because
long
it's
as the
still
property stays
protected.
in 61A, the town would have the right of first refusal. That,
Is that outside of 61A? If they get this federal designation?
right, it's two separate.
I
Things.
understand they're two separate things, so I'm asking when they go from one to the other, does the town not get a right of first refusal? They get to just go from 61A to this other designation?
So when you say go from one to another,
They could apply to enroll their land in the
Land.
federal program that would pay them for a conservation restriction to protect their land.
correct.
So it's almost like a further restriction, it's further than 61A.
61A, in addition.
It,
It would be in addition.
right,
to
so,
61A.
may I?
yeah.
So, I mean, my interpretation is the land stays in 61A.
It would.
And then this is on top of that. It doesn't, is preclude, is that the right word to use? You know, it's not one or the other. It's, I have 61A, because 61A often comes in when it's time for the farmer to sell.
Right.
This is if they're keeping it.
Well, it's almost like,
That's
Right?
right.
That-
It
that-
stays
almost like
in
the
60
APR
stays in-
program.
Pardon?
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
an APR, but it's a federal
It's a
level APR.
Program, yes. But it
So-
would still stay in 61 as long as the
Yes.
owner keeps it
Right,
there.
right.
But I think what you're saying, yes, so
If they
I
sell,
understand what you're saying. You know, it's,
But the rules of 61A would still my interpretation. I mean, I'm
As
not,
long as the
I
property's
wish the
in
attorney was
60,
still here. No, I'm kidding.
as long as the property's in 61A.
Yes,
They get
Those
paid for
rules.
the conservation restriction to protect the land, which to me, that means it's an even further protection of the land.
Well, it is.
Which is great. I mean, I'm
Right.
all for it.
It is.
But I just don't know if so the town never steps into that chain anywhere, or never would have the ability to step in on that chain.
So if the town
unless they were going to sell
decided
it.
to exercise their right
right.
of first refusal to acquire the land,
At what point?
well, if the property owner decides to sell the property.
But
I think
it'll
with
have the
and if
conservation restriction,
That's
is
what I
my
was just
point.
going to say. If that owner has that conservation restriction, that would remain on the property.
Right.
Even if the town was interested in it. That
That
conservation
remains.
restriction would remain.
Okay.
That's the way
Okay.
I understand it, it would. So, well,
I
I
guess
don't
would-
know.
You know
it's
what?
a little
Wait a
If
minute,
if they,
confusing to
if
me.
they sell
that-
it, then I don't,
well, that's correct. If
maybe
they
we need
don't
more
own it-
clarification.
If they don't own it, then how could the conservation restriction be in their name?
I think it's,
Or if
again,
it's
we're,
with the
all-
land.
Transferring the property up, well,
right.
it's a restriction. So it's transferring the rights to do anything on the land. The federal government will pay you to not do anything.
Yeah.
Right, but once it's not your land anymore and you sell it,
Becomes the holder of that conservation
Correct.
restriction. That's my
correct.
question,
Right.
now that we're talking this out. Who becomes the holder of that conservation?
well, because it's up to the landowner.
Right.
So the new landowner might not want that. They might want to then turn around
I
and
think
do
it's
something
probably
differently.
permanent, like APR. I mean, unless you get special legislation, you can't come out of APR.
Usually, most conservation restrictions are permanent.
Of course.
Yeah.
Why would they do it temporarily?
Yeah.
Why would they pay you to do it temporarily?
So that's another question.
But my question is also if, I mean, just for the sake of argument, if there was a piece of land that the town was interested in for some purpose, and it was in 61A, and they wanted to put this restriction on it, does the town get a right of first refusal or anything before this permanent restriction goes on? I'm just
I
curious
see what you're
about.
saying. Okay,
That's what I'm curious about.
okay.
Maybe I'm overcomplicating this, but I'm just curious.
Well, it's hard because we're trying to interpret something that we
Before
don't
the
deal with on a
yeah.
day in and day out basis.
Yeah.
It sounds to me, it's in 61A, but now the farmer can
It's an
get money
additional- right,
to put
for
it into
keeping it there,
conservation
right.
Yeah.
restriction.
That's,
So to come out, it'd be even harder, because now you
would.
got
It
the
would.
money
It
that
would
was
make it
paid for
difficult.
Conservation restriction, plus you got 61A
Yeah, so what
designation.
hoops do you have to jump through?
Yeah, so that's why I'm just curious if there's a
Or do
if
you
there's a
have to?
time frame where the town, before this permanent restriction goes on, which it doesn't say it's permanent, but I'm assuming it's permanent, if there's
that would actually restrict though, I mean theoretically, if somebody ultimately wanted to buy the land.
it's
you know
like
what I
an
mean?
it's
It's like
just like an
another- yeah,
APR piece. It's
yeah.
permanent. It's
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's still a couple questions we need.
That's why they pay them for the restriction.
Right.
Because they basically pay them, I don't know, what the value amounts they do for, but like on APR, they're paid a fairly decent amount of money to make sure that
Excuse
it's
me.
never developed. So I'm sure that it's a similar program. I'm
Is-
just
are-
curious.
Are we on a time frame for this?
I don't believe
okay.
so.
I mean, I just saw that Bob then said, will you send the letter off? And I didn't know if there was a time-sensitive type thing. So if not, can we,
Well, we did send the letter off.
yeah, but I
We did
mean, can
send
we
the
just
letter
get some
off.
more
I mean, can
clarification?
we just
yeah,
have Bob come
absolutely.
in to talk
We
to
can
us
do
about
that,
this?
sure. He had a commitment tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
He couldn't be here.
I'd like to do
Absolutely.
that. I'm curious about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you okay with that, Ed? We'll see if we can get Bob here to, you're okay with that? Okay.
That's fine.
All right. So we'll take no action as far as the vote goes, Marlene, tonight.
Okay.
And I think it's just, I don't know that anybody's against it. It's just, we're
No,
just
I'm
looking
not.
for some
No, I'm not. I'm
just
not
some
at all.
clarification.
For
We want to know
clarification.
exactly what we're voting
What it
on, right? I
means,
mean,
yeah.
that's, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not at all.
No,
Okay.
Yep.
okay. Marlene, I think did I go get everything in order? Yeah. So notice of acceptance for Chapter 43D.
Yes, I had reported out on this,
You had,
I believe,
yes.
previously,
Yep.
and we received this packet in the mail. The board just needs to vote to approve this acceptance. And, well, it's the town's notice of acceptance
Yes.
from the state. And then the chair just would need to sign that document.
Right. Okay. So do we need another vote?
We've already accepted this, right?
Yeah, we already accepted it, yes?
Why
don't we vote just to-
accept it, but you're voting to approve or sign this notice.
Enter into the,
Right.
whatever
it's
the right.
an acceptance of agreement.
All right. For proposal, yeah, okay, yes.
I will make a motion to what should I do, to designate the following site?
Well, we did that at
We did that
town
already.
meeting,
So
right.
just to enter
It
into the
just-
agreement
Yeah.
Right.
forward, yep.
regarding Chapter 43D
Okay.
Second.
on the
So-
West Street parcel.
By
Yep.
signing this, it's our commitment
just- yeah,
to
I get
the
it.
approval of
Yes,
the
and
town's
the process
application.
of how, yeah.
That's right.
Yep,
We're just
expedited
approving
permitting
Brian
work.
to
Being
sign it,
difficult
that's all.
tonight.
Pretty much. All right, so a motion's been made by Diana, Ed seconded it. Is there any further questions or discussion on it?
No.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Western Mass Regional Recycling Program update.
You may
Please.
recall several months ago, and we had an article on the annual town
did,
meeting
yeah.
warrant. Mass DEP put the recycling out to bid, and I believe
Excuse
the
me.
bids were due back in May. They're due in May.
Yeah, late spring, I think.
Right. The contract was awarded to Waste Management Recycle America, and they list the terms of the contract. I talked with Phil and Garrett, and clearly, you know, this letter, based on this letter, we would be looking at an increase in costs for recycling.
Yep.
Garrett is going to be attending a workshop that's going to be held, I believe, this week or next week. And then we'll report back. But I just wanted to make sure that the Board of Selectmen are aware the contract has been awarded. You know, there's different options for participation in the program. And I asked Garrett and Phil to report back on it.
Right. Garrett had actually, if I'm not mistaken, had come in to one of our meetings to kind of give us a heads
Some
up.
time ago,
I mean,
right.
months ago, but to let us know that there was going to be some changes and the prices are dropping in some of the other countries that we deal with recyclables. And, you know, this whole process might be something we're going to want to look at as a town and see if there's something, you know, a different way of doing business
right,
down the
look at
road. But for
alternatives.
now, yes, we need
Alternative
to
methods for
be aware of this, and then once we get the proposal from Garrett, we would then have to accept that and sign off on it, yes?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been
All right.
seeing some stuff about the cost of recyclables, and it's really,
Yeah, the payback
Unfortunate.
is like zip for
So
all the
that's-
work.
it's going to
Potentially-
start costing.
Costing,
That's exactly what it is.
absolutely, yeah. So potentially, the budget
It's not going to be a money
for-
maker, it's going to be a budget buster, is what's
Right.
going to happen.
Yeah.
That will be a
How sad.
discussion for the
like
budget
that one.
process.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for the heads up, Marlene.
You're welcome.
All right, the HR policy review, no drugs and alcohol in the workplace.
Drug-free workplace.
Yep.
So I reviewed.
Section 23.
I reviewed what other legal counsels are publishing for other municipal
Sure.
clients, and reviewed that and incorporated some recommended additions here, I should say, not so much deletions, but additions.
Yeah,
And this obviously recognizes the authorization for recreational marijuana.
right. Yeah, so just since the people at home can't see what we're looking at, so this is more of our HR policy that we've been chipping away at for, I don't know,
Couple of years.
I was going to say years. I didn't want Marlene to get upset, though, when I said years.
That's okay, but yeah,
We're getting near the end, I think. But basically what we've done is we've taken this particular policy and we've actually spelled it out and inserted it, for the most part, in many places with the words alcohol, marijuana, and controlled substances, which is basically to say it's a work-free environment which would not consist
The
of
drug-free environment, not a
alcohol.
work-free environment.
Drug-free work environment. Thank you
Yes.
for the clarification.
That would be interesting, a work-free environment.
I'd love a work-free environment for myself. See, you try to do the right thing and tell people, and
I'm
you
sorry,
can't even.
but-
No, twisted tongues. So, in essence, what we're doing is inserting the language about alcohol, marijuana, and controlled substances into our existing drug-free workplace.
Does our driver pool get random drug tests?
The COA transportation?
Any
bus,
any of our
excuse me?
drivers?
Anybody using our vehicles?
Anybody driving a town vehicle?
DPW, the union is subject to random drug and alcohol testing.
But no other drivers?
I don't know about the school. I do know the DPW.
I don't
is.
know the answer to that, to be honest with you.
So, okay.
DPW, I know for sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But the,
I don't know if part-time
Builders
band,
transportation.
well, I don't want to, I don't know. I was going to say, I would think bus drivers that are hired, it's another hired company, it wouldn't be our responsibility for
actually,
that.
DPW
But our van,
Yeah.
we have part-time van drivers, whether it's for COA or to schools or what have you. I truly don't know what the policy is.
for the
I'm
school, I don't
I'm
know.
curious because, one of my questions has about the legalization of recreational marijuana has been that marijuana stays in your system for a very long time. So random drug testing, it's impossible to know if someone recently
yeah,
used it or 20 days ago used it. So the policy doesn't really address anything like that.
I will,
I'm curious.
inquire.
I'm curious what other communities do about that and how many of their drivers, regardless of what department they're driving for, are tested.
Okay,
Just curious about that.
okay. All right.
And what happens if it's found? If it,
Yeah, how
I
do you
mean,
prove, yeah, right,
th-
to your
it's-
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
What action is
Right.
taken?
Excuse me. Were there, besides just getting some clarification on that for knowing in the future, were there any particular questions or adds or deletes from the proposed changes that Marlene made for the drug-free workplace? Or shall we accept it with the changes? Again, this is a piecemeal HR policy we've been going through before we put the whole thing together, so we've been either approving or kind of going back and getting some other information if necessary for each particular section.
I'm fine with approving it as long as we could potentially revisit it if there's some information we get from another community about.
Yeah, if you're comfortable tabling it until the
yeah,
to the
yeah, I
next
mean, we're
meeting,
in
I can
no
do that.
Okay.
huge
I would say
rush
let's
if-
table it and look
Okay.
into
Okay.
that.
Sure.
and,
Okay.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Under continued old business, we still having some town hall renovations?
Town hall renovations update, and I know Ed usually likes to speak to
Okay,
this.
I want to, the board had asked to have us come back to you about the ramp in the back. So we have sort of good news and maybe not good news. I'm not sure how it goes. Anyways, we did get a price for the ramp in the back, and it's in about, what, $86,000 or $84,000.
wow.
Well, it increased.
So the question then becomes on, everybody wanted that ramp. So the financial aspect of that ramp, we were looking at, we originally had another article for $325,000 for downstairs, money available there, but we were not sure how much money was available. And Marlene was going to follow that up, I think, on the 325, because we weren't not sure if some of the 325 was used for the downstairs or how that worked.
Right. So the 325,000, I had done some research, and back in June, or actually, no, I'm sorry, before that, in January, I had consulted with the architect, and of that 325,000 for the work downstairs and the second external ramp to the basement, 196,000 was for the ramp.
Okay, so what, the question is, out of the 325, what is available?
The 196,000 would be
So
available.
it's actually less than, so we actually have
We
the
have,
money.
we have money to
do
cover
the
the
ramp.
costs, right. So the architect the board we're working with, after we met on Thursday, contacted me later on to say that the numbers for options 1 and, I'm sorry, is it 1 and 2 or 2 and 3? Had increased by $3,000. Yeah, so it was options 2 and 3.
Okay, so just to bring people up to speed, the conversation that's been going on is after the fire protection's done, after the code issues are addressed, the board was discussing making sure that we do some maintenance issues to the building, downstairs, possibly put in a new floor, do some painting, upstairs, take care of the floor, fix the wallpaper or paint it or whatever we want to do.
Yep.
So the question now becomes, I guess, if there was 190,000 available for the ramp, we only need 80,000, that would leave us over 100,000 for downstairs to actually come up with a game plan.
Correct.
And then we'll have to look at, because upstairs is not part of that, upstairs would be a different thing. So the good news is we do have the money if the board is willing to move ahead with the back ramp. And I guess that'd be would you need a motion from the board, or we can,
Yes.
Could I ask a question?
I
and
have
we
a
can
question,
discuss
too.
it?
Yeah. So when would the ramp, if it were the ramp out back,
Okay.
when would that like break ground or whatever the right? I mean, is that waiting for something to happen first? Do we need to make sure all of our expenses for the other parts of this
That's what we
are
just
covered?
That's what I'm saying, is that 325,000 that was
Right.
authorized,
Originally, or, yes,
yeah. That
that was for a
was
ramp
for
and
A
downstairs.
second external ramp to the basement, expansion of the COA kitchen, and relocating the building.
All in one article.
That's correct.
The ramp was not, so here's my point, and I'm just being devil's advocate, right?
Yeah.
So we have basically we have $325,000 to incorporate downstairs and the and the ramp and whatever. So while I know the original ramp had a figure to it, the 196, until that's why I asked the question. So until we know exactly what is or isn't happening downstairs, I don't know that we necessarily have 196 put aside for a ramp, or 80, we have $325,000, let's put it that way, to take care of downstairs and a ramp, if it all can fit in there. And that's what my question is. Will it all fit in there, or is it too soon to know that? Which is why I asked, when's the intention of that ramp?
Well, I mean.
Is it like a spring thing, right?
If you look at it this way, whether COA's down there or somebody else is down there, it's not a bad idea to have the ramp. Okay, and then as far as groundbreaking, I believe we got the estimate in, so once the board says, yeah, okay, then the contractor can tell us when they can start on the ramp. It would be part of this project. Is that what the question is?
It's sort of.
Okay.
So I guess my question is, I am totally on board with the ramp out back. But again, it comes back to, is the 325 really enough to do that and everything else that we want to do in the basement as far as getting everything back up to speed and doing? And I'm not asking you to answer that question. I'm just throwing it out there to make sure.
We can't do that and do some pricing. I know that if we put a floor in, I talked to the building inspector, and that might
and
be
the
under,
walls
that
and
might be under 10
all
grand.
sort, yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure for what's left, 100 grand after the ramp, or, I mean, you got
130, well,
325
roughly,
minus
theoretically, so.
80, theoretical, you got a lot of money to do at least the maintenance items.
Right.
And
So,
right now, we have a feasibility study, so we don't know what the prices are. But on one hand, if, the way I see it, if we get the ramp in, and if money for additional stuff that the COA wants, we could have another article.
and I'm with you.
Yeah,
So
you know what I'm
but I
saying?
don't know which comes first. That's all. Diana wanted, go ahead.
So I have a couple questions. We got an estimate in, but did we formally bid it? I mean, that's a big price tag.
Well,
No,
as
this
far
is,
as
this is the
project,
contractor.
The contractor came
contractor
back
has-
with the prices.
3 options.
But don't we have to go to bid for an item that large?
Or are they
You can't just
considering it like
hire
an
a
add-on or
contractor.
something, or what's,
Well,
or
we
a
have
change order?
This is an estimate that we received from the contractor. This is an estimate that we received.
Right.
Right.
This is part of the town
Part of
hall
the construction
renovation
project.
project.
Okay.
This is all part of that project, is it not?
It
Well,
is.
this what, yes.
It was bid, it was part of
But
the
this-
project bid?
Well, this wasn't, this particular,
I mean,
It wasn't.
we have an estimate, so if it comes down to having to go out to bid, I guess that would be the next. that would be the
That's
next-
true.
Because honestly,
I'd have to
$80,000 seems really expensive. That's not a huge ramp.
Right.
How could that possibly cost $80,000?
can we,
And I mean, it's well outside the thresholds of
There's-
having to
there's-
require a
There's
bid.
drainage involved, there's union contracted prices, there's all kinds of other
I
factors
understand all of
involved.
that, but it still seems really high, because we're not
Well,
talking
At
about,
least it's not 190,000, which was original. when
great,
you-
but
Right.
still, I mean,
We got it down from 190 to 80. Maybe if we get the go-ahead for the ramp, then if we feel legally we have to go out to bid, maybe it'll
Yeah.
come in lower.
I think I know what you're looking for tonight, and I'm fine supporting it, but I'm wondering if we can word, the motion or do it via consensus, so our hands aren't tied if the expenses are just different as this
why do we
whole
have to
thing
make a
unfolds.
motion tonight? Why do we have
Well,
to
I don't
make
know
a
that we have,
decision tonight?
I think what Ed's looking for, and I'm not here to speak for Ed, I think he's just looking to support, I would support a ramp out back.
Well,
But I
okay,
don't
so-
want to vote on it and say, take $86,000 or whatever it is out of the 325 yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? I approve the concept and the idea, and I'm fine backing that up, but I think we need to see some numbers. And to Diana's point, real numbers.
Well, the real number,
So-
we have the estimate, so that's a real number. So I guess if we felt that we had to now go out to bid, then we'd get some more numbers, right? I mean,
Right.
is that what you're looking for? I'm
Well,
sort
I
of
think we
looking,
have to do that.
Well, I'd have to, honestly, I'd have to look at the bid specifications. I know that, it was a building improvement project that was advertised with
we
the
advertise a
elevator,
certain way, so there's,
ramp, and I think, it may have been specific
So
to
if
just
it was
the one
included
ramp.
if it was included in the bid package,
I'm
wouldn't it have been
not
included
sure
in
it
the
was.
It wasn't.
dollar
Correct, it
amount that we,
wasn't.
so then you'd
Right.
have to rebid it.
Right. I think the contractor's looking at it as a change order.
but what Brian's saying is, I think you're sort of correct. What I'm looking for, or the project's looking for, is if we should move ahead with this. And it may, and if we move ahead with it, we would be looking at taking that money from the 325. So we still don't have, we have estimated costs, we don't have bid costs.
Right, and I support the ramp out back, I really do. But I just want us and the town to make sure we've got everything that we've asked townspeople to support ready to roll, Yes, there was a ramp originally, but then the ramp wasn't part of this, and now we're going for that ramp, and that's fine. So, which brings me back to my question. If you just kind of get a consensus of, and I would say it this way, I support the ramp, but I think it's too early in the process of everything else that's going to happen downstairs to what?
Commit funds.
To commit the funds for it. But I support the concept.
We
so
don't know
can-
what else is going to happen downstairs yet, because all we know that's happening downstairs is the fire protection's being
Yes.
put in. There has been nothing forward yet on, after that is done, how we're going to we have a feasibility study that's gone out. So we're waiting for some information from that. But it's either the contractor's got to put steps back there or put the ramp back there. And if the contractor puts the steps, it's ridiculous to knock them down afterwards, you know.
I get that. So
There's a cost. There was three, what we received was three options. One option was the step with a ramp coming in, you step down, and then you ramped in. Another concept, another option was the steps coming in all the way, or just taking the existing steps and fixing that. So right now, there's already funding that's assessed to that part of the project. There
Right,
was,
yes.
There was original
back
funding was
door
to
and
take
step,
the original
yep.
steps and redo them.
Yes.
And I
Make 'em
forget if that
wider,
was like
yep.
$30,000 or $40,000.
Yep.
So, I mean, I would hate if we have an opportunity to put the ramp in, which everybody wanted, to put steps in now and then go back to town.
I don't,
makes no sense.
I don't disagree, Ed, I do not disagree at all. My concern really is the whole timing of things. So it goes back to a question, I don't know if you know the answer. When would the steps and/or the ramp be worked on out back?
Well,
Spring or now before winter? That's
Well, we can ask
the
that
timing.
question on Thursday.
Okay, if you would, please.
can ask
I'm
that
all,
question on
I'm all for
Thursday.
the ramp project.
Right.
I just want to make sure that we're getting this work done in accordance with state procurement laws.
Well,
And it
I
seems like
know-
an
I know
$80,000
that-
change order is significant.
Well,
So,
Marlene's really, I'll tell you, Marlene, as our chief procurement officer, has always been very on top of making
yes,
sure
I
we do
understand
things
that. I'm just
correctly.
asking the
So
question because.
I'm sure if we move ahead, she will find out the correct way to go about this so we cause no problems, because she's been fantastic as our procurement officer. in
See,
making
As
sure-
always.
I wasn't here when it was bid, so I don't know if that was part of it, and so changing the scope a little bit is okay, or if it's a whole nother $80,000
Right.
project, and that's,
And if the contractor's
Worth
stating that,
looking
does that
into.
include all the engineering specs on it? I don't know. Do you happen to know
Well,
that?
the
I
en-
mean,
Yeah, the engineering specs
Okay.
came in, that's what they
For out
put
back
the
there.
estimate
Okay.
on.
All right.
They submitted last week, the engineer submitted
Yep.
his design, that's what they estimated
Okay.
that project
Yep.
on, was
All
on
right.
his design.
Okay.
It wasn't a throw, it was based on.
Yeah, no, that's, again,
so
I
this
just,
will be a ramp that descends into the building, it doesn't ascend into the building, it goes down into the
Right, it would be a
building.
ramp.
Right, it was,
Yep.
right over
Right.
here on this corner.
So like a
it was-
bulkhead, but it goes down into the building, in the
That's-
back,
Right.
right?
It starts about 25 feet over on the grass, it comes down, and then it
Yeah,
comes
there's-
in, and there's a short little ramp that's inside.
Okay.
You know, Diane, I have.
But they could actually start at 30 feet, because it's 1 inch for every foot for
Yeah,
drop.
for the drop.
so- And you only need like 30.
I'm just, if it
6
was
inches
included
there.
in that price, and this is just a change order, but it's,
I
just
think
need
we're
to-
all on board with
yeah,
it. We
okay.
just need some clarifications as to some of the questions we've asked.
Actually, I think she has a, yeah, she
I
has
was going
the
to say, I
pictures right
have
there.
the design here for
You
it.
can-
There's
You guys
some
can look at the.
demolition, exterior exit balcony. Yeah,
There was 3 things that they presented for the back.
without the architect being present, I have difficulty reading those, understanding them. It helps to have the architect.
And the
to
ramp,
say-
just so everybody has an understanding at home, who might have this question. And so this ramp is intended to actually be the access in and out for the COA downstairs, not just an emergency
Correct.
exit in and out?
Right.
Be the entrance.
Be
Handicap,
the
right,
entrance,
handicapped
handicapped
access,
entrance,
yes.
or whoever's going
Entrance.
downtown, right?
And-
Downstairs.
And I mean, if you have a mobility issue, you park in the back, and now you got to take the walker, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to go up.
right, and go up, right.
over,
Makes
down.
total
No, it
sense.
totally makes sense to be back there. I just-
Absolutely,
Want to make sure that we're
yeah.
doing it right, and I understand what you're saying too, to make sure that, we don't run out
Sure,
of
we're
money
in
for the other
compliance
parts
with
of
all
the
it
project.
is.
But,
Specifications.
I mean, to me, the ramp is a high priority. It needs to be, if there has to be things that go left undone, I think it would have to be the interior things, because we can do those at another time. It doesn't make sense to do the ramp at another time.
Right.
Thank you. Okay. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. I
No,
just
same
wanna-
here, same here.
And I do, the other reason, not just because of, being in compliance with procurement laws to get bids, but I mean, we might get a better price on it, that's all.
Thank you
So
for
I
the,
guess once we get those answers answered, we'll come back and,
make it an official.
I mean, what's the time frame for people being back down there, being able to be housed back down there?
well, as far as
March.
the time frame, we don't have one right now because of the fact that we have a time frame for this project, but we still have to discuss what we want to do downstairs, because we don't want to bring people back until we fix up downstairs, or at least do some of the maintenance
Right.
issues, the paintings and stuff. And that all ties in with the feasibility study, so
Yep.
I don't think until we get the feasibility study back, which that's out, right? That's out.
It's not
for-
out yet.
Okay, that's got to go out.
We're still working on the specifications.
All right.
So we have, so it's clearly, we're not trying to break ground on the ramp before winter.
No, but I mean, if the contractor can bid on it, he can bid on under, and he's here while he's doing the project, it just, sometimes if he's on site, it becomes cheaper for him to bid on it than somebody else too. I mean, because they're already here, the equipment's here,
Gotcha.
Okay.
just, so that could be done, and then we
And
can
you
worry
think it is
about.
part of the original bid? That we don't have to rebid it?
I'm not certain.
Okay, so.
Certain of that.
let's check on that. Okay,
Okay. Thank you
thank you very much,
doing
Ed.
those and keeping us in the loop.
Oh, yeah, so we get those answers, and, because, yeah, we know all the avenues of which way we have to go as far as procurement and all that stuff,
Yep.
because Marlene's been always good at that. So
Yep.
she keeps everybody on their toes.
Excuse me, good. All right,
Okay.
anything else on that, Ed?
Okay, as far as the other renovation, the only issues here were some dust issues that have been taken care of.
Well,
and
it's still
some
being addressed.
Still being addressed. And
Here
when
in your workspace?
Yeah, this floor, there was some exhaust fumes in the building last week. It was pretty bad.
when they dug the pit, there was some questions on the drainage pipes, because they were in pretty bad shape. So we do have a contingency, but we want to stay away from using the contingency unless it's really
Yeah.
necessary. So
Understood.
the only unknown is the drainage pipes probably and the elevator shaft that they came across.
Mm.
I saw one of them was just like split in half when they took it out. So
Drainage pipe?
Yeah, is that the one that was in the COA kitchen?
Yeah,
They were
that
talking
was the
about
COA
it just
kitchen, yeah.
collapsed. Yeah,
Wow,
pretty old.
that's original.
But
Well-
there was no arrowheads found or anything, so
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, the good news is, eventually, we'll have lots of these old piece parts replaced and up to today's standards, so.
And
Thanks.
it'll be nice for the employees here when
Yeah, for
when it's
everybody
over
and-
and you're not
yep.
dealing with fumes and dust. And
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you, Ed. Any unanticipated new business, Marlene, or?
no, the only question I had on
You have a
under
few of
old
those in there,
business,
actually.
under old business was, there was a thing on computers with,
The workstations?
the workstations,
Yep, those were on order. The order came into Paragus a week and a half ago, and they're currently setting them up. There's 13 workstations.
nice, okay.
So those are being set up, and then they will, have them.
And are we all
Delivered?
switched over to Vadar now, or is that still ongoing?
Sorry, I'm back here. We are in the process of collecting all the taxes that were due last Friday. So we will be shutting down the old system after I get everything collected in the next week. We're already at an 89% collection rate, so we're doing
Nice.
great. So
for
we'll
you.
collect through the rest of the week and then shut that system down and open the new system. Once we get a tax rate set, the new bills will go out. So we're in good
Bingo,
shape.
bango.
And
Great.
it you can transfer everything over. you
Yep,
can-
so that's why we do a shutdown period, so we
Yep.
shut the old program, we don't collect anything for about a week and a half, maybe even 2 weeks, so we can bring everything over to the new program, and we'll still have access to our data, we own it, so we don't lose all of that, but everything will bring right over to the new system. So,
Nice.
exciting.
Thank you.
So Ed, I had sent a departmental meeting report, I guess you could call it, out to everybody, and I think the workstations are referenced in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I saw it
I think,
somewhere.
yeah, I had, because I had let the department heads know that they can expect, but we do have a priority list, those that are the oldest, and work our way up. So, those people, the assessor's office, the town clerk, building inspector, veterans officer, those computers I know are at the top of the list.
Oh, it'd be nice to see DOS go bye-bye.
Department head meetings are the second Tuesday?
Sometimes they switch off. If we have to make an adjustment, then we're we're off schedule. But yeah, it's bi-weekly, so we don't meet this Thursday. We'll meet next Thursday.
It's Thursdays, not Tuesdays.
Thursday. Oh, I'm sorry. It is on Tuesday. It
Like I
has
said,
been
it's
on
on Tuesday.
Tuesdays. It was on Thursdays. We moved it
Both
to,
right.
it was on Thursdays. We moved it to Tuesday to accommodate the accountant.
Okay.
The accountant is not able to make those meetings most of the time because she's not here. So we have continued to have those meetings on Tuesday because we have a construction meeting on Thursday morning. But I would like to move the department head meetings back to Thursday. It works better.
Okay.
You get a few days leading up to it, I would think. On a Tuesday, everybody's kind of unburying themselves from,
Yeah,
from
just-
all the, like a Monday, and yeah. Well, whatever works for you. They're your meetings.
It's busier, but for
Yeah.
now, we're just going to leave them on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you. John,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you, Key. Thank you,
Thank you,
Marlene.
Key. Thank you.